You are listening to the Sports and Sorts podcast.
Deep to left field. Going back Joyce. Looking up. See ya. 3,000. History.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Let's get ready to rumble!
This one by Mattingly. Oh, hang on to the roof.
Looking, throwing in the end zone. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Little roller up along first. Behind the man. It gets through Buckner. Hits the slide and the Mets win it.
Welcome back. This is Sports and Sorts, episode 133. And we have a lot to talk about today. We're going to be talking about the NFL Week 9. We're going to be talking about our top 3 Halloween slasher films. We got all of that to talk about today. Most importantly, because this is really important, I am one of your hosts. My name is Shane Moore. Wait, what? What's going on? Where's the Brahmin? Something's peering out of the darkness over there. This really only makes sense if you're watching live.
And I'm the bride man.
The Blundertaker.
Good morning, happy Halloween. How was that for an entrance?
The Blundertaker is upon us.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. Not even really the Undertaker. I'm just some poor wannabe.
Yes. Oh, well, anyway. So you're the Bride Man, and obviously, with all of that, we got a great show. So let's go. Nope. There we go.
Listening to Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bryman.
All right. We're going to be fielding all of your top horror hot slasher films. What's your favorite slasher film of all time? We will see who everybody puts out there as we'll read off as many as we can at the end of the show. So if you can, go ahead, throw your favorite slasher film in the comments section, and we will talk about it in just a little bit. And I am going to be talking mostly sports today, and going into a genre of film that's not really in my forte. But I did come up with 3 slasher films. I was struggling with it last night. I was like, really wanted to put Saw in there, and I was like, you know what? it's not really a slasher film. It's more of psychological and a little bit of like the torture porn that they like to call a kind of movie. So I took that one out and I came up with another one because it's one of my favorite movies in that particular series. So I put it in there. All right. So let's get into this. We're going to start off with NFL, baby. We got a lot to talk about today. We're not going to really get into Monday Night Football because it was just a crummy game with a semi-predictable outcome. And although I do like the Bills adding Terrell Pryor for their for next year's team, there's not much to talk about with either one of these teams. That was just a boring game. I don't think it was really watched by many people outside of New England and the people that happen to be in attendance for the Bills. But
I just want to point out one thing. If you recall, I predicted a final score of 50-12 Patriots, and it was sawed in half.
Yep.
25-6 Patriots, which means I don't think the Patriots covered the spread.
And I do think we should actually.
Or did they?
No, they did because it was.
Oh, they did. I'm sorry, you're right. Yes, they did.
Touchdowns.
It was 14. Yes, so they did. They did cover.
Barely, but they did. So the actual picks, I tallied them up. You are 24 for 14.
24 and 14?
24 and 14, yes, not
okay.
14.
So 10 over,
You don't have over 100%. So 24 and 14, and you are sitting at 63% with your picks this year. That's very damn good. We're giving you a hand clap there. Now, me on the other hand, I am 19 and 18. There was one week where you actually picked an extra game. You picked the Dolphins. You had to throw the Dolphins in there, so you picked an extra game. So you actually have one more game than me.
Okay.
But I'm 19 and 18. And
I'm sorry, did you say 1918? 1918, okay. I mean, that's too bad. That was funny once upon a time.
Yeah. 19 and 18 for a 51%. 51%. So I have cracked the 50%. I'm actually above now, and now I can do nothing but just keep looking forward. Hopefully, I will continue this string of picking better than 50% because I have a lot to do to catch up to you. All right, so let's get into our picks this week. We have Thursday Night Football, Raiders versus the Niners, battle of the one-win teams.
Oh, man.
And now, although we are picking this game, I do not recommend betting this game because this is like a stinker. This is just an absolute brutal game with two teams that who knows what they will play like on a short week. But since I have to pick and I'm completely down on the Raiders, and mainly because the 49ers are at home, I am going to take them to win an ugly game. I don't want to spend much time on this game because I think the Raiders are going to continue to be a one-win team while the Niners going to sneak out a win against a really poor team that is letting go of all of their stars. So I'm going to pick the Raiders to win 13 to 49ers 21. I think it's going to be just an ugly game. 49ers 21-13, just an ugly game riddled with terrible penalties and just, being... It's just going to be a brutal game to watch. I'm not looking forward to watching this at all. I might not even watch it. So my wife says we're looking good.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, thank you. I mean, I am.
I'll tell you what.
I'm Batman.
As far as this game goes, if I had a coin to flip to determine the outcome, I would just take the coin and throw it in the river and wish for something else other than to watch this game. Because oh my God, honestly, I think the only reason Raiders or Niners fans even care about this game is just because of the overall first pick implications here.
Yeah, and I don't think the Niners care about the first pick because I don't think
they might not because they have their quarterback, right? So it's probably a little less, They
don't care if they go 4-12.
Yeah, they probably don't. Yeah. They probably don't. I mean, they're going to have a top 10 pick anyway. Yeah. That's really all that they're going to care about. So they're going to have somebody great to pair with Jimmy Graham. I have no idea what side of the ball the Niners are going to go on, but this game should just be an absolute you-know-what show.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine I'm going to be so curious to see what the viewership is for this game. I mean, I'm not going to be tuning in. I'll be doing something else tomorrow. I'm sure I'll just, if I get outrageously bored. I don't even think I have any fantasy implications in that game tomorrow in any of my leagues.
No.
So I have no Raiders or Niners I have like Marquise Goodwin on like a couple of my teams, but I don't play him. He's a bench guy. So this game is just not fun for anybody.
No.
Do you want to know what I'm going to be doing tomorrow night? I'm going to be listening to the Sirius XM Holly channel because Christmas music starts tomorrow, baby. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Drinking your pumpkin spice, listening to Christmas music.
Yeah, if I have like a winter lager or something, I'll crack one of those maybe just to kind of get in the spirit. Anyways, this game, I'm with you on the Niners, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Oakland Raiders, they're really just trying to lose as many games as possible, I mean, at this point, right?
They might be. And it's a horrible game. I'll go with a cockeyed score, too, of 17-12 49ers, just because who cares?
Sadly, that's a good pick. All right, so we have that. That's just not going to be a fun game. All right, now let's get into Sunday picks because these are going to be a little bit more fun. We have some good games coming this weekend. For Week 9, I'm going to take my first pick, which is the Lions versus the Vikings. The Lions are getting about 5 points or so. So I have the Detroit Lions. They have basically lost their last 4 of their last 6 games on the road. And if you couple that with the loss of Golden Tate, I mean, he's been a bit of a headache with the Lions, but still, he's a talented wide receiver, and that will hurt a little. So I think that the Vikings will be out for blood after an embarrassing loss against the Saints last week, and they should have won that game. But because of careless mistakes with the ball, they ended up losing. So with that, you have Kirk Cousins, who has been really good this year. I know he's been flying under the radar a bit, but he's completing about 70% of his passes. And, with them being at home, I expect a bit of a whooping to take place with the Vikings putting up about 32 points. And even though the Lions have been putting up some great offensive performances this year, I have them regressing a bit. And I have the score Vikings 32 and the Lions at 21.
Wow.
Yeah. So I have the Vikings coming in hot, being a little ticked, and putting it on the Lions, and the Lions losing Golden Tate. That is not. I mean, it's not necessarily because he's been your number one receiver this year, but more because that's just an extra weapon that they don't have to cover.
Yeah. My first game is Steelers at Ravens on the road. You know what? As well, I think as the Ravens defense has played this year. Despite the fact that there's a number of aging guys on that defense. Terrell Suggs comes to mind. I'm pretty sure he's, I think he's enrolled in AARP at this point. I don't know for sure, but you know what? And look, the Ravens I think have been a little bit of a pleasant surprise this year too. Maybe to their fans a little bit. I think a lot of people saw some turmoil on that team, especially with Lamar Jackson being drafted. But I'll tell you what, they normally in a game like this, I'd probably go with the Ravens because they are kind of a physical team. But I just sort of like the way that the Steelers are coming together right now. I feel like they're starting to put it together offensively. Big Ben and Antonio Brown are starting to click. At some point, Juju Smith-Schuster is going to get more involved, and I think they need him to get more involved. Vance McDonald has been a little bit of a revelation for them offensively. And let's be honest, I mean, James Conner, I mean, if you're a Steelers fan, I wish we had actually some Steelers fans who were either watching live or commenting, because I would love to know if you're a Steelers fan, I mean, do you even care right now if Le'Veon Bell comes back? I mean, because if you just look offensively, what is he going to give you that James Conner has not? I mean, I guess I would say the only thing is he's a different kind of runner. Obviously, he's a more patient runner. Mm-hmm. He really kind of waits, finds the hole, bursts through it, and he's obviously a little bit better of a pass catching threat. But from a sheer productivity standpoint, I just don't know how you can argue with what he's putting up offensively.
Yeah.
But at any rate, I like the way the Steelers are playing right now. I mean, their defense still lacks a little bit to be desired, but luckily for them, they're going up against a team that's not really that great offensively. I mean, the Ravens really, I'll tell you, when it comes to their draft, and they're not going to have a great pick this coming year, but they really need to concentrate on getting some offensive weapons, whether these are guys that you're going to put around Joe Flacco for the next year or two, or these are guys that you have in mind for Lamar Jackson, specifically some receivers, a tight end, even a running back. I mean, I'm not in love with Alex Collins or Buck Allen, I mean, they really need to get some guys on that team. I really think Flacco is one of those guys who could benefit from having, I'd love to see Flacco have a deep threat. He's got such a big arm. I know he got John Brown. I think that's like, it's just, it's just not a great, it shocks me that team's even has the record that they have.
Right.
But I like the Steelers on the road here. I'm going with a final score of 34-28. No, excuse me. I'm sorry. Not 34-28. 30-23 Steelers on the road.
All right. Okay. And then we're going to move on to my next game, which is the Texans versus the Broncos. And the Texans are actually a small underdog here in this game. And that is something. Oh, we have another. Listen to this.
2, 3. Hit me with the hard 20.
A buddy of mine made this. Oh, no, this is, yeah. Oh, yeah, a little Halloween music here with a little DJ Cool. All right, so next for me is the Texans versus the Broncos. And this is, even though the Texans are a little bit of underdogs, they actually poached one of the best offensive weapons, Demaryius Thomas, from the Broncos. And Deshaun Watson and the Texans have been incredibly hot lately. And Deshaun is looking more like the quarterback that we saw last year. And that is going to be a little bit of trouble for the Broncos because the Broncos are just an okay team. They'll beat up on easy teams and like the Cardinals, and then they'll lose to good teams like the Chiefs, which is basically what I think is going to play out this week. I don't think that Demaryius Thomas being with the Texans this week is going to help the Texans, but I do think it's going to hurt the Broncos offense, which has been, I mean, they've been like okay at best. So I think it's just going to make their offense that much worse. And even if the Texans start off a little slow, I expect them to pick up the pace and probably lay up 30-plus points against these Broncos. I expect the Broncos and Case Keenum to have a rough time moving the ball, with Keenum ending up on his back like probably a handful of times, which will probably lead to like an interception or two. So I have the Texans at 30-plus points to the Broncos at around 17 points.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's fascinating, too. Trade deadline, Demaryius Thomas gets traded from the Broncos to the Texans, and then he plays his former team that first week. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen a lot in football because, first of all, there's just not many trades made at the football deadline. It's not like baseball where a guy can switch dugouts.
Right, yeah.
Which we have seen happen before. But in
As
football,
we mentioned on another podcast that we talked on. Yeah.
Right. Yes, I know. It does feel weird. We're sort of repeating ourselves in some ways. But, hey, we're consistent.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is pretty interesting. It'll be fascinating to see what kind of game he puts up against them. I actually was forced to play him in one of my fantasy leagues this week because of either injury and or bye weeks. So I had to throw Demaryius Thomas in.
The bye weeks.
My second game is not only the game of the week by far, but as I said on the other podcast that we did this morning, I think it could be the game of the year so far.
Yes.
This is the undefeated Rams on the road at the one-loss Saints.
You think it's going to be what?
That's what I'm saying. I do.
All right.
I believe it's easily the game of the week, if not the game of the year so far.
Yes.
I mean, we've had a few of those so far.
There's another one that we're going to be talking about in a little bit that's going to be pretty hyped too. So, yeah.
Yep. But I really think this is going to be a fun game to watch. It's on the fast track in New Orleans. The Superdome is going to be rocking. And there's big playoff seeding implications in this game too. If the Rams lose, the Saints, I think, move to 7-1. The Rams would be 8-1. The only difference in their record is because the Saints have had their bye week already. The Rams have not. So this is a big deal. This is a big swing game. If the Rams go in and win, they're 9-0, and they really, really have control of the NFC. If they don't, it's a little more wide open. And you know what? I like the Saints to make things interesting in this NFC conference because why not? If you're a Saints fan, you got to like the way they're playing right now, too. I mean, look, they went and won a game primarily on defense this past week in primetime against the Vikings up in Minnesota, went in there and shocked them. Pick six Kirk Cousins once, and they caused at least one other turnover. Their defense is starting to play to the level that I think they were hoping they would get to at some point. And look, that's dangerous because the Saints have proven that they can beat you in a number of different ways, especially on offense. Again, case in point, this last week, Drew Brees did not play a great game. I mean, he didn't play a bad game, but he just didn't put up like Drew Brees kind of numbers, It was very pedestrian. He had one touchdown and, he didn't throw for a ton of yards, but you know what? He's got Kamara, he's got Ingram, he's got Michael Thomas when he needs him. He's got plenty of other weapons. So I really, really like the Saints at home here, 34-28. I think the Rams are going to play a good game. I just think the Saints are going to be up to the challenge, and it doesn't mean that I think the Saints are a better team. It just means that I think for now the Saints are going to get the better of them, but I would love to see these two teams play again in a game that really, really matters.
Cool. And you said 34-28?
Yes, sir. 34-28.
All right, got that. Now we got to move on to Sunday Night Football. And this is another game that could be potentially a game of the week. I mean, this is like a game of the year kind of deal just because it has two of the best going head-to-head. The Packers versus the Patriots, and this is going to be fantastic. The Packers had a rough loss last week, and apparently that last play where Ty Montgomery fumbled on the kickoff return, apparently he was supposed to kneel. He was told to kneel in the end zone. Well, that's not what happened, and now he's no longer with the team.
He gone.
But the Packers, they got like a good bag of nothing for him, so I guess that's something. But the Packers, the big issue here is that they traded away Clinton Dix, which that could hurt them a little on Sunday night. He has been a great safety for them this year. He's played every snap for the team. So that could spell a little bit of trouble for the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. Now, this game is always tough for me to pick because I love Aaron Rodgers and I can't stand the Patriots. And the Patriots are on a short week, and even though it's about as long of a short week as you can get, but still, the Patriots should win this game due to the trading of Dix. But the Patriots defense, they did let the Bills score 6 points on them, and the 6 points converted from Bills points to Aaron Rodgers points is about, 230 points. So the Packers defense, they showed up against the Rams, and that is an epic Rams team, an epic offensive Rams team. So anything is possible, and I'm going to say that the Packers are going to upset the Patriots at home, and the Packers are going to beat them 35-34 with a late comeback, maybe even a field goal kick. Who knows? But Aaron Rodgers is going to come through, and he's going to pick apart that Patriots defense, and he's going to lead them to the victory.
Okay. I thought it was fascinating that this was the game and this was the matchup that pulled Michael Jordan out from underneath his rock to do a commercial, a goat commercial. Except he wasn't talking about him and LeBron. He was talking about Brady versus A-Rod, which I think was funny.
LeBron. There was a little bit of jabbing there.
It had dual meaning. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But I look. I said it earlier when we did our little cut for the other podcast that I just can't pick. I can't pick against the Patriots when they're playing at home. I just can't do it. I'm one of those see it to believe it guys, and until I see somebody kind of go in and pick off the Patriots in the Lions' den, I'm just not going to believe that it can happen. They're too good of a team. They play too well at home. I'm not going to give you too many X's and O's here. It's one of those gut things, and I think the Patriots win this one 30-23.
Yeah, I was waving to Damien because he had a free period and he wanted to stop by and show some love during his thing, and he said great costumes, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
So what did you have? 30-23.
30-23 Patriots.
30-23.
And the beat goes on in New England.
All right. And also Ronnie says, Happy Halloween. Thank you very much. I'm actually going to play some ball with him on Thursday. We're going to go shoot some hoops. I'm excited. Get to go see if I still got the shot, see if I can make some buckets. We'll see what happens.
Is it shirts and skins? How are we rolling here?
It's pants and no pants. I call pants.
Wow.
Or do I? I don't know if either way is a win. I don't know which way is a win there.
Yeah. Nobody wins in that scenario.
Yeah. We'll both be pants and we'll be on the same team.
There are only losers in that scenario.
We're just gonna play pig. That's it. Forget it.
Yeah.
All right.
You'll be tired after that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm gonna be exhausted. All right. So. That's pretty much it for the Sunday games. So I think we're really here. We have to talk about something that we've wanted to talk about. I have my Halloween mix playing in the background, by the way. If anybody wants it, it's about 2.5 hours long. It's got all sorts of stuff, like from Alfred Hitchcock to Jaws to like Who Let the Dogs Out.
I heard some Jaws in there while I was talking, which almost distracted me.
I saw you. You were kind of having a hard time.
I was like,
you were like, oh wait, that's my favorite movie of all time. I got to stop for a second and soak up the water here. But this is a Halloween mix. Anybody wants it? Let me know. I'll send it on over to you. And it's about 2.5 hours long. It's fun. It's fun. So anyway. It has Pixels on it too. One of the songs in Pixels.
Nice.
A movie that you and I saw together as a screener.
Speaking of distractions, how about that music in the background there?
Yeah, it is. You even hear like Jigsaw in the background a little bit too.
That's cool.
I did a lot. The first one I did in 2015. Put a lot of effort into it. And then I made a 2.0 version, which I cleaned up some of the mixes and all that kind of stuff. And it's basically a continuous mix. It just keeps on going. So, and then there was also some fun music in there because my kids wanted to have that music in there, because it was the songs that they were listening to at the time. And so I had some of that stuff so they could dance in their driveway and all that stuff and have fun. But so anyway, all right. Again, slasher picks. If there's any slasher films that you love, put them in the comments. We'll read them at the end of the show. Slasher films. Please put them in the comments, and we will put it in there. If your favorite one, put it in. We'll talk about it when we're done with ours. All right. So our top 3 slasher films. We'll start with the third one and work our way down to number 1. And I was originally, Brian and I kind of going back. This isn't my forte. Horror is not my forte. I did watch a bunch when I was younger. As I got older, I was like, you know what? I'm good. I don't need all these jump scares. I'm tired of it. I jump at every jump scare. I'm good. So I still did enjoy a lot of these movies. One of the ones that I was going to put in there was Saw, because it's not really a slasher film. It's kind of like psychologically, a little bit of mental games. And then on top of that, it's a little like that torture porn that they call. And it's not, the first one isn't really like that. It's so much fun to watch. I love that movie. And it really led to a lot of sequels that were just fun to watch. Like the second one was pretty good, but after that they just went over the top and totally jumped the shark, but they were still fun. So I'm going to go, instead of that, you know what? I'll let you go. You'll start off, because my third one probably, because it's going to be in the same realm as one of my other ones. So I'll let you start. I'll let you start off.
My number 3 is probably going to be a little bit of a shocker to you.
Yeah, you said I wasn't going to be able to pick it, so I'm excited.
I don't think you ever would have been able to pick it. And you know what? It kind of falls a little under the guilty pleasure thing too. But the more times I've watched it, the more times I realize, you know what? I think this is just a good movie. I mean, maybe it's a guilty pleasure. I don't know. I don't know what the Rotten Tomatoes score is on this movie. But what's ironic is that, one of my picks is a much older movie, closer to my age, and I'm sure you know which one that is. But the other 2 are just a little bit over 20 years old. So kind of young in terms of the slasher genre. But my number 3, and again, I know this might be, people might roll their eyes at this one, but hey, you know what? You like what you like. My number 3 is I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Really?
Yes.
With the Hook Man.
Yep. Freddie Prinze Jr., Sarah Michelle Gellar, Jennifer Love Huge Boobs, whatchamacallit, Ryan Felipe, Johnny Galecki. It actually had at the time a very talented young cast. I always liked that movie. It was one of the I don't know if you recall, it came out a year after Scream. Mm-hmm. And Kevin Williamson was also the writer for Scream. And so I remember when it came out being like, ooh, Like, I just remember thinking, like, well, I really want to see this movie, but my God, what a horrible title.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what a horrible title for a movie. I Know What You Did Last Summer. I mean, you have to laugh when you hear it. But you know what? I liked it. I went there. I watched it. I enjoyed it. It had all the, you know, it had every, it was a very much, if you want to talk about something that's very much in the spirit of being a slasher film, I Know What You Did Last Summer. It checks all the boxes. So that's my number 3. What is your number 3?
My number 3 is, so I am a big Freddy Krueger fan. I dressed up as him a couple times when I was a kid. I got the plastic, glove with the plastic, knives and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I even one year, because I really wanted to be him so bad, I tried to make my own glove. I didn't really work out well because I was like 8 years old or 9 years old or whatever.
I remember they had like a dollar store one where it was like a little silk glove, and then they were just like flimsy little silver things. Yeah. It never worked.
Yeah, but they actually, the second time I dressed up when I was a teenager.
Oh, they had a legit one.
They had a good one that was like hard plastic, and that is the one I ended up getting. It cost a ton of money.
Yeah, I remember. It's like $30, I think.
It was expensive. Yeah, it was like more. I mean, and then I had the wax. Like, I didn't put a mask on. I had all the wax put all over my face and everything.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I went.
You went nuts.
Yeah, I did. And it was a lot of fun though. So my number 3 is Freddy Krueger 3. And it's versus the Dream Warriors.
Oh, the Dream Warriors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is, in my opinion, it's one of the best because it's just, that's where they took his comedy to the next level. They really made it apparent that he is torturing you with like in your dreams and gonna kill you in your dreams, which is just terrifying.
He's laughing at you while he's doing it.
And he's also making fun of you while you're doing it to add salt into the wound. And it's just so good. Like when this is it, Jennifer, your big break on TV. And then he's like, boom. And then he's like, that's prime time. And it's that I remember watching, and I busted out laughing when I saw that. Like, that was just so great, so great.
Yep.
All right,
okay.
So number 3 is Freddy Krueger 3, which is the Dream Warriors. Yeah.
My number 2, I've already mentioned it. Scream. It is a genre-defining movie from Wes Craven. Has one of the greatest opening scenes to a horror movie you will ever see, with Drew Barrymore. It was what a novel idea to take somebody who you thought was going to be the main star of the movie, and you kill her in the first act.
Yeah,
crazy.
We can just go back and forth on this one because I have the same one as my second.
That's your number 2. Because, okay, there are number 2s.
And what I was going to say was, this was like seeing Steven Seagal, an executive decision on the trailer. You thought this, like, he was going to just destroy life on the plane.
Right.
But in the movie, in that movie, he's not the lead. It's actually Kurt Russell. And in this
Kurt
one,
Russell,
Drew Barrymore, who could have potentially been the lead in the film, gets brutally slashed at the beginning of the movie.
Yes.
It's just,
and it
takes you on a fun wild ride.
From a tree and like
absolutely brutal.
But that whole scene, that whole first scene, I will never forget being in the movie theater watching that whole first scene. And I remember the scene that kind of got me the most was once she got outside the house. Mm-hmm. And then you see Ghostface running really quickly through like the living room. And I remember in the theater being like, what the was that?
Yeah, exactly.
I was really into it.
Where are they going to go from here?
But it was such a great movie. And and the funny part is, Wes Craven really tricked you throughout the whole movie, thinking, okay, it's got to be Billy, it's got to be Billy, it's got to be Billy. Oh no, it's not Billy. He just killed Billy. Oh wait, Billy's still alive?
Yeah.
Oh, he's bleeding though. It's still not him, right? No, wait a minute, it's Pig's Blood. He did it.
Yeah.
Oh, and then it's Stu's in on it too. Yeah. But the best part, Stu is actually the best part of that movie because, especially at the end when he's like on the phone and he's like, "Oh, my mom and dad are going to be so mad."
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you hit me with the phone, you dick.
Yeah. It's such a fun ride, and like guessing who the killer is the whole time.
Yeah. And it's a whodunit. It's a slasher. It's a little bit of comedy
too, because they were like going along with it, like as they're like horror film. Like, this is what happens in a horror film, so this is what we got. Yes. It was such a refreshing take.
Randy, it really was. None of the sequels ever even came close to living up to that. I've enjoyed the sequels, although I think the 4th was bad. But I actually enjoyed 2 and 3 to an extent. But the first one is an absolute. It was a groundbreaking kind of pioneer movie.
Yeah, it really was.
And I still love watching it to this day. I'll put it on anytime. It is. It's not only my second favorite slasher film; it's my second favorite horror film.
Yes.
Period.
Yeah. It is. It's a great movie. It's probably my second favorite too. So then we'll get into number one. For me, it's going to be Nightmare on Elm Street, the GOAT. Freddy Krueger was and always will be my favorite slasher of all time. He's hilarious. He's crazy, creepy, scary looking, has a knife glove, as we said. Plus, he invaded your dreams to kill you. It's just psychological warfare. It's just twisted and great. Like, it is, because I mean, it's not just psychological in the movie. Like, you think about it and then you're like, crap, I got to go to sleep tonight. Like,
this guy's going to be there in a boiler room.
And exactly.
And why am I in a boiler room?
And I had a recurring nightmare about Freddy for years after watching this movie. Yes. And it only took a long time for me to actually defeat him. And when I did, when I had that recurring nightmare, I knew how to beat him, which was good. So, like, it went away on its own, you know? Like, I just figured out how to beat him, which was great. So that was good. I mean, I love seeing him in the Goldbergs recently on that episode where he was there with, Beverly.
Yes, it was. It was great. It was great.
Back and forth. I mean, his makeup didn't quite look as good as it did.
Well, he's older. I mean, everything's sagging a little bit, but
It was still nice to see him, and, it was cool to see how, like, they were playing the movie, and they even did a couple of the infamous scenes, like with Adam Goldberg in the tub, and they had the clock. So good. Like,
it was.
That stuff was so fun. So much
It was.
fun.
It was really good. I enjoyed that episode quite a bit, and it was very nostalgically great to see him in Get Up again. And actually, afterwards, he even said I think he got the itch a little bit, because I think he said he'd like to do one more.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if anybody takes him up on that offer. I mean, I have no doubt at some point they will once again reboot Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah. I mean, I have no doubt they'll reboot it again. But if Robert Englund wants to do it, who are any of us to tell him he can't?
Right.
Look, my number one, you know it. We all know it. It is the namesake of this day. Mm-hmm. It's Halloween. It's Michael Myers. Tonight is the night he came home to Haddonfield. Mm-hmm. It's the boogeyman, and if you don't believe in the boogeyman, you should, because to me it's just the greatest horror film that ever was.
Yeah.
I watched it last night. Mm-hmm. It was on, of course. I was watching a little bit of the Rob Zombie one before the original came on, and
that's a good one. I actually I considered putting that in for my number 3. I considered it. I like that. I like that movie a lot.
The zombie
really
one, yeah.
The first one. Yeah. The first one was really well done. I thought.
Yeah, and actually, the first one is really more of a recreation of the original Halloween.
Right. Yes.
The second one gets loony. Yeah. But yeah, the original Halloween movie is, to me, the best slasher film of all time. It's just, Michael Myers is just
John Carpenter,
a scary, creepy character. He doesn't talk. He just kills. He just wants to go back to his hometown and kill people.
And I think that
there's something oddly pure about that.
I think Halloween is one of those that I think is a lot of people's favorite. You have that. I mean, obviously the first Friday the 13th was pretty good. They had a nice little twist at the end, and all that. It was pretty good. And then the second one where it was a little bit, different, and then the third one where they actually got the mask and all that kind of stuff. But, there was a lot of good stuff in Friday the 13th, but they've always been a little bit more cheeky than anything else. Like, I've never really considered them, even though they're the one that everybody kind of relates to when they think slasher films. They're like, oh, Jason, kind of like, because there was just movies where he had so many kills, it's just outrageous, incredible. Like, he's just killing everybody. Like that one where he was at 4, 5, 6, I don't know, that he was on the ship and he like ripped the guy's like head off or something like that, or cut his head off. I don't remember. It was like, it was on the cruise ship. I don't know. It was like crazy or something. And I don't remember.
Yeah.
It was like he's on all sorts of different things. He was one in space. Like,
yes, Jason X, I think, is Jason in space.
It's all like, what the heck?
Actually, I really enjoyed, for me, Freddy versus Jason is actually kind of nice.
I like that. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I like it. I like it too. It was fun.
I still say that Freddy won that battle. I still say.
I mean, at the end,
a little wink.
You got Jason. Yeah, you got the wink. You got him carrying Freddy's head, but Freddy's got the wink. So
he's got the wink, and he's is he dreaming? Am I controlling him? What's going on here? Like, you don't know. Yeah.
You don't know. You never know. Yeah. I mean, it would have been great if they had put all three of them together in a movie.
Yeah. I think it didn't do very well at the box office. They had plans to do like everybody, like to throw everybody and have a big battle. Kind of like multiple movies. Like
put Leatherface in there.
Yeah, like a Leatherface versus Mike Myers. And
did you see the parody song of like the Backstreet Boys thing where it's I'll kill you that way?
No.
And it's got It's got Freddy, it's got Jason, it's got Leatherface, it's got Michael Myers, and it's got Ghostface.
I might have seen it.
It's really hilarious. Yeah, it's like it's a Backstreet Boys parody instead of "I'll Love You" that or whatever that song is.
I think I have seen that. Yeah, I think I have seen that. Yeah,
it's funny.
It came out like a year or two ago. It's not that. Yeah. Matthew Pizarro, he writes, Halloween is the greatest slasher film of all time. It introduces a final girl trope that every slasher movie will try to copy, but Laurie Strode was the first and the best.
He is. I 100% agree.
Yeah. All right. So that's one that we got out there. We don't have any other really. Damien did say he was teaching in a Gryffindor robe today, which is pretty
very
cool.
nice.
That's
lovely.
Excellent.
Selfie, please.
Yes. Take a selfie. It didn't happen if you didn't take a selfie. Let's see if there's anything else. If anybody else has one, we're going to be leaving in a few seconds. Like I said, if you guys want the Halloween mix, let me know and I'll just send it on over to you through your email or whatever. It's about 2.5 hours long. If you have Dropbox, we can hook up through that way. Whatever you want to do. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it for our show. We can end right now. You can find the show, Sports and Sorts, on Twitter at Shane and Bryman. You can find us Facebook Live every Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. Not this Saturday. And not next Monday because I am going to be gone, which is why we.
You're going to be in Florida.
I'm going to be in Florida, yeah. The Florida-Georgia line. That's where I'm going to be. I'm going to be over in Florida, and we're going to go to Universal. We're going to go to Harry Potter World and all that kind of stuff, or have some fun over there. And that's going to be fun. So we're going to be gone. We're going to take a little bit of a hiatus. Not too long. We're going to be gone for a couple shows, and we'll be back next Wednesday, a week from today. Then you can find me on Twitter at, let's see, gotta give a little slasher love to the Leprechaun and Chucky films. The Chucky films.
Chucky would be a slasher film. I don't know, would you consider Leprechaun to be a slasher film?
I don't know.
I think it's just a bad horror film.
It's like a horror gore kind of film, like not necessarily slasher.
It's a little different. Yeah, I don't consider that.
But Chucky,
slasher.
Definitely. Chucky.
Sure, Chucky, yes. I mean, a doll running around with a knife qualifies.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a slasher film. So you can find us, like I said, anywhere. You can find me on Twitter at Einhornersfinkel.
You can find me on Twitter at _Bry_man or at at Blundertaker. Is it the Blundertaker? Or I don't even know.
Your eyes. Your hat is like blocking.
I know.
Your
well, that was sort of the idea. Though.
Yeah. I mean, it's just you're very creepy. Very creepy. All right, so that's pretty much it for our show. If you have anything you want to send over to us, you can send it to shaneandthebryman@gmail.com. You can find this podcast at anywhere podcasts are listened to, iTunes, iHeartRadio. You can website www.sportsandssorts.libsyn.com. And you can find the show live where we do audio and video, Facebook, and we uploaded it to YouTube a little bit later. So
yep. I just have a couple things to add real quick. One, stay classy, Planet Globe. And number two, this show will now rest in peace.
Oh. I wish I knew you were going to do that. Here we go. Little late.
I'm not saying anything else.
Just don't laugh. Don't do it. Do not break character. Don't break character. Do not break character. He's stoic. He's serious. He's the Blundertaker. I wish I could tone down the lights on your end. Just slowly fade to black. It's not working. See you later, guys. Still hasn't broke character. It's amazing. No teeth, nothing, no smiles at all. It'd be great for your cat to just go. Bye. You can find Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bryman on iTunes or www.sportsandsorts.libsyn.com.